Okay. Uh, Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. My name's Lee Honish. I am joined by Andrew Labouche and Miguel Antonio Barragan. How are you, Andrew?
Yeah, very good, Lee.
Excellent. How are you, Miguel?
I'm good, man. Just shaking out the sleep, Sunday morning. That's what I do.
I'm sure you woke up 5 minutes ago. It's the way it
Yes.
always is.
That's just the way it is, yes.
It's just the way it is. As always, brand new. I was inspired last night by the KFTC or KFC series on DAZN. Fight Net Radio, I guess, is technically an influencer. So at Fight Net Radio, everything's been updated. The website's being updated. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. And hell, you can even go to our YouTube page. We are there across the board. Just for Andrew, because he's watching, that's 10,000. That's another 5,000. There's another 6,000 there and another 1,000 over there. I'm close, man. I'm telling you, we can get Junior a fight, Andrew a fight, Miguel. I don't know. I don't know if we can get you. I'm the oldest of the group. I can't do it anymore. Watching those kids last night. I got to be honest, Andrew. I was jealous watching influencer belts and shit last night.
I turned on DAZN or DAZN, right? It's DAZN.
DAZN. And by the way, if we're going to call it DAZN, shouldn't BLK be black? I'm just saying out loud for the room.
You're not going to let that go, are you?
I'm not. If DZAN is DAZN, then BLK is black.
I hear you. Yeah, they it was real weird of DAZN to put the YouTubers. When I turned it on, I don't know how it is for you guys. When I turned it on, it usually goes to like the live events, right? It'll show a live event first. It went straight to the Hardy walk-in. So I was like, oh, okay, I caught the co-main event to the Munguia fight. This is cool. Started watching the Hardy Rockman fight. It was a total just a garbage fight. And then they showed the fight card, and I was like, where the hell's Munguia at? I look it up online. Munguia's on DAZN, but he's on another DAZN stream. Thought that was really weird that they put two boxing matches up against each other in the same fucking time frame.
Well, I don't know if they're really considered boxing, but since now we're mainstream, Andrew, right? That's our goal here, to be mainstream boxing. I didn't actually realize until I started putting together our updated package how many people actually followed and or listened to this show. And we're not even talking about our broadcast platforms. We need to be more mainstream. We need to be sensitive more in general. So today I want to launch a new era of Fight Net Radio where we're more responsible when talking about the news. So let's talk about the Dead Zone fight from last night. Is that mainstream? I'm going to check. Miguel, not only are you sensitivity expert, you're now our mainstream expert. Let's start with the Dead Zone, shall we? Last night, the Dead Zone put on, there was only one fight worth watching. I watched the main event. Which also led to Dylan Dennis pretending that he was afraid of KSI. For Miguel and I, that's funny. That's really funny. Now, maybe in boxing, Dylan Dennis is frightened, Miguel. Maybe. But in real life, I think he could have cleared that ring last night.
Yeah, in seconds.
Again, always denote the amount of cauliflower.
Who is that guy, though? Because he was getting slapped all week.
He was getting slapped all week. Dennis.
Dylan
Dennis, yeah.
All right, so Dylan Dennis is probably one of the top 10 grapplers in the world. He's got a bad attitude. He was at the center of the Conor McGregor horse crap. He seems to always be somewhere where there's he's a look at me kind of guy with an absurd level of grappling skills. He's won world jiu-jitsu, like he's won. This guy's got the skill. Legit.
On the ground.
On the ground, legitimately. I mean, it would be the same if Gordon Ryan showed up for a boxing match. Do I think Gordon Ryan has a chance? Boxing? Not at all. Not even close. But again, he's what, 6'4", 240 pounds, and he could take Brock Lesnar and twist him into a pretzel. He's that good. Now, same thing with Dylan Dennis. I'd put him in with anybody, okay, on the ground. That's what they're doing. They're just taking people that should be on the ground that should. It's stupid.
But in their defense, though, Dylan Dennis is like lending himself to it. You know what I'm saying? Like he
it's a
fought
good
couple
payday.
of fights. It's a good
I
payday.
don't blame him at all.
He runs his mouth. He runs his mouth like a motherfucker. Like he thinks he can stand up with people. He's had a couple of MMA fights where like the fight has gone immediately to the ground and he's able to submit him quick style. So he hasn't taken many shots, at least not on in the MMA world yet. But I mean, he is. So from what I understand, he's supposed to be fighting KSI in a boxing match exhibition in the near future. Yada yada.
Yeah,
but,
February.
I mean,
they announced it for January.
Yeah, there
or February,
we go. See,
but,
so
that
was
wasn't
his
he
goal.
at the middle of the Conor McGregor bus meltdown too? As I recall, he was in that camp.
Yeah, he was. I want to say it was when Khabib like hopped off the stage and went like drop kick somebody. I think that's
there you go. One of those.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, but he's just basically a fucking. I guess was it like a tabloid type of I don't know, Broner, Adrian Broner type of MMA guy, or I should say more like a grappling guy. But oh well.
At least Gordon Ryan moved over to one championship. At least he did before the pandemic. I don't know if he'll be back because he came back and tore through Worlds again. He did the no-gi routine and then retired officially. So I don't know if he's actually going to grapple or fight in the cage. Some guys don't translate. Here's the problem that I have with all of these guys. And we saw it especially with this influencer card of death. The was it the fight between the two where one of these guys, I don't know their names, screw them. And I do follow everything that's happening on YouTube and Instagram and all of that. One of them actually claimed to have experience. The other one had real amateur boxing background. But the minute somebody turns their back in a fight, okay, you're screwed, bro. You're screwed. You're screwed. And he quit in the second round on the stool. Yeah, it's bad news. People don't like getting hit. I mean, we've seen it with Ronda. We've seen it with a lot of MMA people. They forget that there's striking involved. And that's no knock on any of them. I mean, that's not to say that I wouldn't want to see you in a bar in the middle of the night. I know it's going to wind up on the ground, and I know you're going to twist my head off. But boxing is a chess-like sport, Andrew. It is strictly what it is. An amateur can beat a bodybuilder who looks like he's been – like Logan Paul would never – I don't believe this about the Paul brothers. They're never going to fight a real boxer. They're never going to fight a real boxer.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm thanking God this morning that he didn't fight that Rockman kid. Rockman, with the record that he had, was an embarrassment last night. I don't know who, that's just more evidence, Lee, of your dream of winning the lotto and making a 20-0 fighter. Here steps in Rockman. What was he, 12-1?
Yeah.
Rockman was 12-1, Miguel, going into this fight?
I don't remember his record, honestly.
Hold on. You should have a fight rec. I'll check it. Go ahead. But this is ridiculous. Greg Hardy, Hardy shows up out of shape and gooey 1 week before the fight. He's a hot mess. I mean, he and Shannon Briggs just sort of showed up to it, and they beat the crap out of Rockman to the point where he's quitting. He's quitting in this fight. Bad.
His father was embarrassing in the corner too, with the no instructions coming to his son. You got this. You can win this. Yeah. You got
to take him out. You got to take him out when they in that third round. I think that third round, going into the fourth, he's like, "Dude, you got to take this motherfucker out." It's like, okay, how? Give him instructions. It's like, how the hell are you just gonna be like, all right? It's just like Teofimo's dad. It's just like, all right, man, time to take the motherfucker out. Time to take him. We're like, what? Okay, I need instructions. What are you seeing from the outside that I'm not seeing from the inside? That's kind of your job, homie. This is where you took over. Come on now.
He doesn't have a box rack. How pathetic is that?
Yeah, and this was supposed
He's
to have
12
been
and 1.
against
12
Vitor
and 1.
Belfort, by the way. This was supposed to be Rockman and Vitor Belfort. Then for whatever reason, Belfort bounced, which is another MMA guy. So and then we have to throw in this fucking 94-pound heavier, what's his name, Greg Hardy, and then we see what happens. And I mean, he's got a heavy right hand. That's really all he has, and that's why people were like, concerned with him. But I mean, a skilled boxer would have been able to avoid that right hand and just basically school him. And to Rockman's credit, there was a couple of times where he did stun Greg Hardy. He just didn't seem to pursue it. But I mean, Jesus Christ, you could tell the weight difference was crazy. That's not. What's the word? That was see, Larry's right there. That was totally in Hardy's advantage, right? Being able to take the shots like that and being able to keep coming forward. Because I mean, look at him; he's a doughy ass mess. Basically, they just threw that in there last minute, and his celebration at the end of the fight, thinking he just like did something, is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
The zone celebrating at the end of that fight was fucking. That's what made me turn it off, you guys. When they started, with
that's what made you turn it off. I thought it was the weird gay guy in the pink suit, or the guys from Austin, Texas, who backed. Like, there is so much weird crap going on with Misfits of Boxing that I don't even know where to begin. I like the people that are around it, the announcers. Everything about this. That dude with the turtleneck, who's one of the promoters, like, this whole thing is whack.
The Prince of War? How about the God of War? Fired him. I would have fired him immediately. Don't ever. You talk like that on my fucking telecast, you're gone, dude. You fucking a 4-round fight and you're calling him the God of War? Come on. What?
And you know what's funny? Because of what you mentioned earlier, Andrew, how the zone had 2 cards. They do that, like exactly what you said. Like when you tune into the zone, as soon as you go live, right, it goes to whatever boxing bout they're actually airing at that moment. So there's some airing from the UK early in the morning. That's what pops up without you having to even search for it. Well, it did that with this particular fight. Like they're giving this more importance than Munguia and Korea.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. It was more entertaining than the Munguia card.
Yeah. But I mean, that's my point. It's just like it shows where the zone's priorities are. I mean, they even split up on the Munguia card. They had some other announcer and fucking Sergio Mora, and then on this one they actually had Josh Grisham, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, Todd Grisham had to work over here with complete nobodies who were like, "Oh, I really like this, Todd. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I really want to watch it, mate." Whatever. Like,
I wonder if
first of all, what's the English? Okay, there's a weird English thing. There's a weird thing with the guy in the pink suit, the guy with the turtleneck, who's straight out of the 70s porn era. Like, there's so much strange crap going on at Misfits. Now I realize that Stake is the one that's the money behind this whole thing. And by the way, had to look him up. It's another betting app. Okay, so they're the ones dumping all the money into this. But if you, like, the people that they pick for this fight and the numbers that they're talking about as being influencers or whatever, again, trying not to be jealous. I'm trying to be objective about it. First of all, KSI telling Dylan Dennis that he works harder than anyone else to Dylan Dennis' face, and Dylan didn't choke him out right there, is the biggest. Look, I already know Dylan's taking a dive. I can already tell you Dylan's hitting the mat. Okay. If he lets another man like that scream in his face that he works harder than, look, to be at the very top, and I'll say this to anybody, and God bless all you boxers who listen to the show or people in the sports. Trust me when I say it. Grapplers work out harder than anybody. It's stupid how hard they work out. It's dumb how hard they work out. It's beyond boxing. Oh, yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, my God, yes.
They do it every. Hey, you know what, Lee? Don't go there. Don't listen to him, you guys. He's bullshit. Boxing, wrestling is harder than boxing. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
You said that, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Any
Lee.
day of the week. Any day of the week.
Sure.
You can rest in a boxing ring, Andrew.
They're like a wrestling match. Stop it.
What's
they
the
lay
fourth
on
round in this fight? There's a dude taking a break for the entire fourth round in this fight.
I'm not going to do this. Get out of here.
so hard to get a rise out of you anymore. Well, let's talk about the other Dead Zone night. And that's Andrew came up with today's show name, Dead Zone. He posted it. First of all, they're not even
that was Miguel.
Right? Oh, you're
Miguel
the one who
had
came
that.
up with Dead Zone. Congratulations,
Yes.
Miguel. You named this week's show. All right,
That was
let's
awesome.
talk about Jaime Munguia. Now, okay, so here's the funny part of this whole thing. Somebody on one of the websites, no disrespect to any of the websites, they're just trying to draw traffic, right? And I posted this. They put up a list, and I shared it. This list of, look at all the people that he's fought in his last 10 fights. Now I'm looking at that list. Who the hell's on this list? Gabe Rosado? That's an old Gabe Rosado. Gary O'Sullivan? Gary O'Sullivan was only designed to fight on St. Patrick's Day in Boston. That's what he was designed for. Everybody, and by the way, for those of you going, well, he fought Inoue. Not that Inoue. He fought the other Inoue. There's nobody on this list. There's nobody on this list. The jig is up. They even say, how bad is it when your own network, Miguel, throws your ass under the bus going, he's got to fight somebody?
Well, I mean, it would be funny if it was intentional. They were trying to actually like make it seem like it was worth something. Like, oh, look it. I mean, they wouldn't have done it to throw him under the bus, but they were just like, these are the guys that he took out. You know, I'm glad, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I'm glad that I was able to get a fucking knockout and actually finish the career as opposed to a couple of his previous fights that went the distance. But yeah, it was obvious they were trying to butter him up a little bit. Like, oh, look, we got Munguia. These are the last 10 people that he's fought, and their nationalities, as if that fucking matters. But okay.
Andrew, is there anybody on this list that impressed you?
No, and as a matter of fact, it sounds like they say that about Munguia after every fight for the last, I don't know, 15 or so fights, man. This guy is 41-0. 41-0. And he
With
absolutely
33
had
KOs, yeah.
I honestly, I don't even consider him a top middleweight in the world anymore. The Munguia's show is over, man. It's either they put him in with someone or take him off the rankings. But last night, that was disgusting. That fight, you're right, Lee. That other fight was way more entertaining. Just watching Shannon Briggs and Hardy celebrate was more entertaining than what the fuck Munguia gave us in that ring and what De La Hoya is giving to this kid. Munguia needs to either leave De La Hoya or demand that he puts up the money for him to get a legit fight with, Golovkin or Charlo, whichever one it is. 41-0. The practice is over, man.
Well, I think it goes a step further. And then to end the fight and in the interview, okay, I want to fight Gennady Golovkin on Cinco de Mayo. Okay, well, that's definitely, again, we're back in the Canelo trap, right? You win, you beat an old man. You lose, you lost to an old man.
But if he does it spectacularly, if he's able to do it
better,
a
third round knockout, one of these knockouts, yeah.
I mean that's a bit, because I mean, keep in mind, it's almost like was it Joe Smith when he basically knocked Bernard Hopkins through the fucking ropes, right? It's like we knew Bernard was out, but like no one had ever done that shit to him. It's like, oh shit, it still looked relatively impressive, even though Bernard is way past his prime at that point, past his prime at that point. So if he's able to do that, and it's like, okay, it's still somewhat significant. There's still some some credibility to a knockout like that over Golovkin, if he can even pull that shit off. Because I mean, like this whole this whole learning on the job thing, this is pretty common, right? With Mexican boxers, they don't have extensive amateur pedigrees. They just go straight to the pros, and then they basically learning on the job. Okay, fine, we're 40 fights in, I think he's got it. Can we just throw them into the fucking deep end at this point? Because really, that's kind of his best shot right now is Golovkin. His youth is going to help him. His power is going to help him, right? His lungs are going to help him. Put him in there against somebody like Johnny Beck, even though he's not the monster that people think he is. He's still fucked. He's fucked against guys like that. Johnny Beck whoops this dude's ass. You know what I'm saying? But put him up against cash him out already. Time to cash him out. Throw him in there. Get a nice big paycheck, even if it means he's the sacrifice, just like fucking Gilberto Ramirez. Like, all right, time to throw him in there. Let's go.
What a rough Saturday night. Again, follow us on social media, on Facebook at FightNet Radio, on Instagram at FightNet Radio, Twitter, as well as YouTube, all at FightNet Radio. And of course, follow at FightFiendMigs at Lee Honish, at Andrew Labouche. Let's jump into what little news we have. And trust me, it's little news, and I've got a backup plan. Crawford, I really don't think it'll damage my legacy if Spence doesn't happen. Boxing Scene is reporting, of course, Keith Idec backing up his boy Errol. I'm sure it's got some kind of opinion about him not fighting and not making this happen. Terrence Crawford was interviewed as saying, well, I think it's a great fight for both of our legacies and boxing as a whole. But at the same time, I think, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, kids. But at the same time, I think, a lot of people is reaching. Is it wrong to correct a boxer if that's what they actually said? Like, if you're retyping this as a blog, I mean, do you have to go word for word? Can you clean them up a little bit?
Yeah,
a lot of people is reaching when they say it's going to damage my legacy. Actually, bro, it is. It is. I'm a 3-weight world champion. I'm a former undisputed world champion. I have accomplished a lot in boxing. There's a lot of this is almost like neuro-linguistic programming. If I say enough times, you'll believe it. So I really think it'll damage my legacy. It's just going to go down as one of the biggest fights that never happened. Well, Andrew, that it's not going to hurt his legacy?
Yeah, I listened to that interview. He goes on to talk about going multiple divisions, winning, being undisputed in one of them. I think he's talking more about the Hall of Fame, Lee, about being remembered in the boxing world. And for that, he's not wrong. The guy was pound for pound #1. What's going to hurt him is his welterweight run. He will never be considered a great welterweight because this fight didn't come off, or the Manny Pacquiao fight. He was supposed to fight Manny, too, when he was with Top Rank, and that never got delivered. So most likely it's going to be his welterweight time in his career that will not be remembered as of anything, but that him and Spence and Pacquiao never fought.
Miguel, I'm getting that Otto Wallen vibe with Crawford.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a stretch. We're talking about Wallen here, but yeah,
I realize this is a
vibe,
real world champion, but he's starting to fall into obscurity here.
It's delusional obscurity, damn near, because it's like again, to some degree, he's got a point, right? Because he did what he did in the other weight classes. It's just that when the spotlight is the brightest, when he's at welterweight and he's got the potential to make some serious, Hall of Fame type of hey, put me on the ballot kind of deal, when he starts facing the guys at welterweight, or I guess the only other guy I should say, in this case Spence, right? But it's going to affect his legacy. It won't. It might not. Granted, it might not damage it to the point where it's going to erase what he's done before, but it's always going to be that damn blemish. It's always going to be that stain. It's pretty much what could have been was it Floyd and Manny until they ultimately fought. But I don't want to see that happen with this, and these guys end up fighting 7-8 years or whatever later than it should have been, or whatever the hell, because these guys, keep in mind, they're already in their 30s, right? So there's not that much time left. That's becoming the
running joke on social media, right? Like, everybody's starting to do that posted meme of them as little old there it is. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, does it really have to, man, this is getting repetitive, and it's getting boring. Like, we need to actually make this thing happen. And we can blame it on one or the other, but the bottom line is we're not actually getting it done. And I'm not entirely sure, because I think it's even, was it Max Kellerman was going as far as to call Spence a duck at this point, because I've heard him actually fucking say it. So yeah, it's damn it, man. It's not going to damage his I guess overall legacy, but it is going to be the biggest fucking blemish, and I hate that. It's going to be one of those biggest what ifs. I would have liked to have seen Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe go at it in the pros. It's like, damn it, why the fuck didn't this fight happen? So it's going to be one of those fights if it doesn't happen.
There you go. Moving forward, Bob Arum, I don't see any impediment. Did he really say that word? Impediment to getting Fury versus Usyk done before Ramadan. Why before Ramadan? What happens at Ramadan that I'm unaware of? Like, Usyk or Fury they disappear? Let's see what Top Rank Bob has. I think everybody's on Fury's side feels that way. And because Aegis, Usyk's manager, is such a good friend of mine, former MTK, and so is Usyk, by the way, former MTK, that I know they feel that way. So I don't see any impediment to getting this fight done sometime before Ramadan. That's what Tyson wants to do, and that's what Usyk wants to do. So it would be crazy not to put them on either the last week in February or the first week in March. The start of Ramadan is important. Remember that, okay? To avoid pushing Fury Usyk into spring, because all Middle Eastern countries, he's worried about Abu Dhabi paying for it. That's what this is about.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, Bob. Oh, Bobby.
Lee, that fight shit in America.
Well,
that fight ain't doing nothing.
I understand. They want to, he's talking about doing it in Qatar or Saudi Arabia or the UAE, because they're the only ones who will pay for this horse crap. I mean, these guys are going to want, what, 25, 30 million, 50 million each? Easily. These fights are dangerous because you're in the heavyweight division. And these are big guys, Andrew. By and large, all of them have terrific power, except maybe Deontay. And if you're not careful, you can get hit on the chin and lights out. So he's trying to get this done before the paycheck dries up. Well, okay. We clearly know where the fight's going to be. The question is, who is Tyson going to fight? Like, at this point, is he taking a tune-up before the end of the year? Is he still scheduled to fight Chisora? And if so, he's looking past Chisora to a fight in February or March. It's a little risky. I mean, to quote Bob, don't sleep on Chisora. He's a heavyweight. He could throw that punch. I start with you, Miguel. What am I looking at? What is this Tyson Fury thing that we've all turned into?
Last I heard, he was supposed to fight a third time, I think, now with Chisora. So I think that's the last I heard as far as like him trying to stay busy and keeping or trying to stay to a tune-up fight. I haven't heard anything on Usyk's side as far as him having some sort of tune-up fight, or is he just going to stay out of the ring the entire time? But I don't get, like, I get the whole wanting to get this done before Ramadan, but why can they not do it afterwards? Like, is that too much? I mean, can they just wait till it blows over? It's like, all right,
listen,
like, is there...
you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Oh, is that what it is?
And I got to poker up Tyson Fury's, but you never know if he's going to retire or not. By the way, that was many comments this week on everybody playing the who wants to fight Tyson. Tyson Fury will fight Deontay Wilder, but if I'm going to fight him, I'm going to fight him in the UK. Like, he's the hottest commodity. By far. Nobody's interested in Usyk. Usyk doesn't draw flies. Now, he has all the belts, but he does not draw, for sure.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But even still, it's like, I don't know, maybe is it just because, Fury is like that fickle? Like, sometimes he'll retire, sometimes he'll be back, and all that shit. I mean, realistically, we all know that he wants this fight too, so I don't see a problem with them waiting until after Ramadan. But I mean, if they want to get it done ASAP, it's that's how boxing is. It's like, how much money can I make and how quickly can I get into my pocket? So it's like, if they want to, blow their wad now or wait until after Ramadan, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's. They both seem to be willing to wait a little bit, specifically Usyk, and until shit clears up before they can actually make the fight happen. Fury clearly doesn't, because he's going to want to take that third fight with Chisora. But yeah, I don't see the problem with them just fucking waiting. Like, what's the big deal with just waiting?
He is scheduled to fight on December 3rd, Andrew. That fight will happen with Chisora. Who wins the lottery before Ramadan?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying about Tyson Fury. So, wish-washy, right? One day he's in, one day he's out. It could be where Bob Arum's trying to lock up this fight before he starts going on his I'm going to retire rants. Show him the money, show him what he's guaranteed, give him a little motivation to get in that gym and work. So that could very well be what they're trying to do here. I don't know, I don't know anything about Ramadan or what goes on out there. So I don't know what else would be Bob Arum's reason for pushing this so fast, but other than Tyson Fury's, he's kind of just always got different things going on in his head.
Let me check in with our sensitivity expert and mainstream editor. Miguel, is it okay to talk about the execution of Vestal virgins during Ramadan?
If that's some sort of pageantry for this particular fight, then it's probably not a good idea to talk about that. But
by the way, as I bring up the insight page for those watching the video, you'll see how funny this is. Andrew actually knows this. But hey, shout out to our top provinces that are all literally, jeez. Why do the people in the Middle East listen to our show? Why? I still don't know. I'm convinced we're at the center of many wars. Bob Arum hopes to televise Haney Lomachenko on ESPN Reg, not on pay-per-view. All right. Well, first of all, the fight isn't signed. Second of all, I don't disagree that it's an ESPN mainstream. And third of all, I don't even think it's a pay-per-view because nobody would pay for it. My hope is to do a few fights on pay-per-view, as few fights on pay-per-view as possible, mainly because I don't know how to order them. So if I don't know how to order them, nobody knows how to order them. Because I really believe that putting these fights on pay-per-view is not a wise thing to do, mainly because nobody will pay for them. Now, other people might find difficulty in this. It's not a wise thing because people aren't buying pay-per-views. He's crapping all over Showtime with this one statement. It's so fantastic. And it costs a lot of money to do it. Even if the fighters don't take guarantees, they hate you afterwards because you haven't made money. Well, how about you put on a great fight card? We'd probably pay for it. I think that's the problem Heyman is running into. Yep, there it is. He crapped all over him, Andrew. He took his shot at all those shitty pay-per-views.
Yeah, no doubt. And to be honest with you, I don't know if this fight would do good on pay-per-view. Devin Haney's an excellent fighter, but West Coast fighters, African Americans, Andre Ward being one of them, never really done good on pay-per-view. Devin Haney's from Oakland. I know he stays in Las Vegas now, but I don't know if all of Northern California or the West Coast is really into Devin Haney to where they would buy a Lomachenko fight for what, $79, $89, whatever it's going to be. So that would be a risky one. I would wait. Devin Haney has the talent, and he has the swag. He has a lot more swag, I guess you would say, than Andre Ward did. So he will tap into the fan base soon, as long as he keeps winning. I don't know if the Lomachenko fight is one I would want to put on pay-per-view, though. That does seem like it wouldn't generate that many buys.
Miguel, it's all in-house, so I imagine the fight will get done. ESPN Reg and taking a shot at Al. Good times.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Bob Arum is not going to, miss any opportunities to take shots at PBC and Al. So, that was kind of a given. I'm happy that this is not going to be on pay-per-view. I mean, me being the nerd that I am, I probably would buy it anyway because it's worth, I would say, hopefully they would be more reasonable with the pay-per-view prices.
Would you really?
Well, I mean, if I want better.
No.
You're saying you're not VIP row netting.
I mean, I am, but I mean, like, if it's gonna get stuck, if it's gonna fucking continue to freeze, this might be the ones. Because like I do that with the majority of ones, but the ones that I really, really want to see, I'll pay those, and I do want to see this one. But I mean,
that's right.
We all know that from previous numbers with Lomachenko and Linares, and even Lomachenko and Teofimo that was on regular ESPN, those did some crazy ass numbers. So I mean, I don't see why this one wouldn't, with the fan base that is slowly growing for Haney. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, he's not. Haney's not a superstar by any stretch. It's not like the dude is the Gervonta Davis that people say that he is supposedly. But the fact that they're not going to do it on pay-per-view is a good idea. I like it because it's going to be better fucking quality. Really. I mean, yeah, most likely I probably would pull it up on VIP. But still, I'm happy that the fight's not on pay-per-view because I mean, really, like I don't think either one of these guys. I mean, especially not here in the U.S. for Lomachenko. He's a name, of course, but I mean, it's not like enough to put him on fucking pay-per-view. It would be if ESPN or if Bob Arum and fucking Top Rank would do a pay-per-view. I guess this would be like the next best thing to a fucking a Fury and someone else, right? At Usyk. But I'm glad that they're not going that route because I mean, I don't want to have to fork up fucking $50 for some shit like this.
And I agree with Miguel. The VIP is only for the pay-per-views that don't deserve the money. Lomachenko and Haney deserve the money. Unfortunately, the diehards wouldn't have enough of it to pay them significantly in the pay-per-view platform. So, but no, I do not want to watch this on some small screen while it keeps freezing. I have to keep uploading or reloading the site. So I agree with Miguel.
Yeah, I've always wondered that about the two of you. Miguel, do you have yours hooked into a bigger TV when you go full VIP?
No, I have it hooked up to just like a regular monitor. Like, well, that's like a slightly larger than a normal monitor. But
oh, you need to come over here and see it on a big screen. I have it all hooked up. It's not bad. They do it in high def. I digress. Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Well, you guys all wet yourself this week believing that this fight was finalized. Which, by the way, one day ago, Oscar De La Hoya point blank said, we bent over backwards. We need a signature. So let's go back to a week ago when this was all finalized and everybody's posting on social media and Mike Coppinger is literally splooging. And I believe he might have even been the original source to break the story again. And jump ahead to one day ago. We need a signature. We still don't. Listen, bro, we need a signature. Mario, tell them. They still desperately, they don't have this. They don't have, it's going to be one of those super fights you don't want to miss. Super excited, man. Look, Golden Boy, myself, like literally, oh God, I love it when he talks. Super excited, man, period. Look, comma, Golden Boy, comma, myself, comma, like, comma, literally, comma. Wow. I'm embarrassed. Who wrote this? Sean Nam. Sean, I don't usually crap on Sean that much. Super excited, comma, man, period. Look, comma, Golden Boy, comma, myself, comma. That's a lot of people here. Golden Boy, myself, like, literally. Why are there commas? I want to bring the best fights to you, comma. That's it. Really? Who do you have left? That's what we do best. No, you don't. Basically, period. Ryan wanted this fight, period. Tank wants this fight, comma, so we've come to terms. We bent over backwards, making everything happen, making sure everybody's happy. All we need to do is sign on the dotted line. All right, Andrew, do I need to even go any further? There's no fight.
No, you don't. You know, when you brought this article up, I immediately thought of Al Heyman and how you guys always say he loves going off of Dana White in the UFC. And now this is starting to sound like let's use the Ryan Garcia name to get our fight in. What is he fighting the undefeated Garcia kid like in January, December, something like that?
Yeah. Right.
To get, because then everyone paid attention to that fight when they announced it the next day, right? So yeah, I hope that's not what happened here. I'm going to be very upset. I might never trust the PBC again if that's all they were doing here, you guys.
Let's go one step further. We're close. We're close. You know what, Andrew? I'm going to challenge Tyson Fury. You know what? We're close.
Yeah.
We're close. What the? It's like, I hope. You know what? Every fighters camp does this. We're close. We're hoping. We've got a contract. It's out there in the wind. We've done everything. We've been over backwards. This is no different than Crawford and Spence, for God's sakes. Where do you stand on this, Miguel? Do you think this fight's actually happening? Because Oscar bent over backwards, like literally. Golden Boy, myself, like literally.
Yeah, literally. No,
literally.
Geez. I mean, I'm gonna take the bait. I'm a fight fan, of course. I'm gonna take the bait, and if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be like, God damn it, they got me again, But it's just like, it's one of those things where you
both of you really are abused wives, and no disrespect to anybody who's in an abusive relationship, but boxing fans are abused.
No,
we fall for this shit. We fall for this shit all the time, Andrew.
Wait a minute, though, Miguel. We've only fallen for this for one man, and that's fucking Al Heyman. Al Heyman did this with Mayweather, Pacquiao. Okay. He did this with Spence going against Crawford, and now he's doing it with Gervonta and Ryan. It's Al fucking Heyman, you guys. His fighters have given in to give me all the jewels, give me all the cars, and I'll do whatever you say. They are all his bitch, right? They are all. I think Ice-T was talking about how the music industry, the guys that put out the music are pimps. All the rappers are their hosts. You can apply that same fucking thing to the PBC. These guys have totally given in. Are you gonna get me a tattoo? Yeah, I'll get you a tattoo. You want a tattoo? How much is that tattoo? 20 grand? Give them that fucking tattoo. You want that necklace? Give them that necklace. They bought in, man. They got everything to go on their little Instagram and take their photos and act all hard. But when it really comes down to fighting the guys that could potentially beat them or give the fans the best fights, because you know it's the best fighting the best, the fighters want nothing to do with it. I know it for a fact. Those guys have all bought into just give me a car, a tattoo, and a diamond necklace, and I'm good. That's all they want. Hang out with rappers, hang out at the strip clubs, throw dollar bills, cause like they're hella rich, dollar bills. We're good, Al. Put me in with that PBC stablemate. I'll fight him. We're good.
By the way, based on your math, that would just mean that PBC fans are the bitches of the boxing world. You just shut up and you just pimp hand them every time they want the big fight.
Yeah.
And make them pay pay-per-view for an Otto Wallen Deontay Wilder fight type situation. I mean,
for years,
if you're a PBC fan, you are literally the stupidest human on the planet. I got to be honest.
Yep.
You have to be at this point. Like, we just came off of back-to-back pay-per-views that were atrocious for Showtime and PBC and that entire group, right? And now you're telling me that, do I believe Oscar? No, he could be on a bender. Who knows? He could be drunk.
I could have done
he could have been fucked up when he thought he did all this shit, right? Like, that's a very real thing in the Oscar universe. He could just be talking shit. That's a very Oscar thing to do, too. I'm surprised he didn't get a Canelo thing in here. He did get some media time. Miguel, am I crazy for thinking that this PBC? I'm with Andrew when he said it. Once he included Floyd, PBC people are the dumbest people. Ooh, God, what a great title for a show. PBC are the dumbest fight fans ever if they support it. I'm gonna be honest. And if you're a PBC fan and you hate me, you should hate yourself. You're the ones paying for that stupid pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You're the one who thinks that Al is bringing you talent. I mean, I could jump ahead to Keith Thurman right now, where he delusionally believes he's worth $10 million, to fight Jaron Enith. You got to be joking. Keith Thurman, $10 million?
I'm starting to think. I mean, I don't know if I'd call them PBC fans, but I'd call them fans of the fighters themselves. That's what it seems like. It's Deontay Wilder and his fans. You know, I mean, you can call them PBC fans, right? Because I mean, technically they kind of are. But like, it's almost like fans of the fighters themselves are the ones that are dumb as shit. Like Spence fans and fucking Danny Garcia fans and Deontay Wilder fans. It's those guys, those like that core of, I don't want to call them hardcore, but that core of fans. It's those guys that are ignorant as shit. Like those motherfuckers.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's a PBC thing overall, because I doubt they fucking ordered Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz. I don't think they ordered that shit.
Watching boxing is what it is.
And
their comment's going to be, but you guys had Don King. He screwed everybody and blah 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 blah. No, Don King made the fights.
It is.
Don would snap at a certain point and go, "All right, you're fighting for $1 million." Like that's just what it is.
If you like, it's like the kids that rap these days. Like kids see the fucking dudes rapping and like, oh shit, this guy's fucking badass. He's got the cars, the jewels, and he's rapping. And then we hear him and it's like mumble rapping. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This ain't shit. Like compared to how it used to be, right? It's almost like that. Like this is the in thing for these young kids. Like, oh yeah, Errol Spence and fucking these guys, Deontay Wilder with his big ass fucking costumes. It's like that's their version of it. We're like, what the fuck? It makes us sound old, I know, like, oh, back in my day, but it really was better back then. That's just how it is. But yeah, it's literally like that. It's like the kids who love rap now that rap is garbage. That's literally what the fuck PBC has become now. Is these young cats seeing the Spences and seeing Danny Garcia's with the chains, like, damn, yeah, these guys are former champions. Yeah, these guys are cool. I'm a boxing fan. Like, no, motherfucker, you're not, really. Come on. But anyway, back to Keith Thurman and his dumbass $10 million price.
$10 million.
Wow.
He's
He's He's outpricing himself because he knows he's a stepping stone if he takes that fight. Listen, this guy was talking about fighting the #1 fighter in the welterweight 2 weeks ago. Okay, he was talking about Spence.
He was
Now, all of a
thinking
sudden-
about it. He offered himself.
No,
Wait,
but-
if I remember the history, he offered, he was approached, then he was thinking about it, then he realized he'd be the best opponent. I think there were like 4 weeks of crazy crap out of his camp, or Al,
And
however that works.
This name, this is a prospect, Lee. This isn't a champ. This is a prospect. This is Keith Thurman telling Al Heyman to go fuck off. You want me to fight your prospect? Give me $10 million. That's all he's doing there.
I don't blame him. He's going to need a retirement check here, and whatever he gets is all that he gets, and probably spent money just like the rest of the PBC crowd. And yes, I'll say it again in case if you're still fuming out about the last section and you listen to the show. Yes, if you're a PBC fan, you have the boxing IQ of a houseplant.
You're looking at potentially the next signing of the BLK movement. You're looking at Thurman now is setting his sights probably on Terrence Crawford if he doesn't get Spence. You look for him to leave PBC.
And
Is it
supposedly
wrong?
he's like the mandatory, isn't he? Like he's supposed to be the mandatory for like the WBC or something like that. So that's one of the reasons why he was talking about Spence, previously. But I think either he got word, he caught whiff that obviously it's not going to happen, because here's the thing, I don't see why they wouldn't put him against Spence anyway. Like, we know that Spence is the dude. We know that chances are that they're going to want Spence to win to keep this fucking potential either carrot on the stick fight with Crawford down the line. So I don't see why they would do that. They wouldn't just give Keith Thurman the fight. I mean, considering he's that, but so I suspect that Keith kind of like caught wind that the WBC was gonna be like, no, you're the mandatory, but I mean, we're not actually gonna give you the fight. We're gonna fuck you over like we did, Dillian White here. So he's like, okay, well, who's next then? Or Ennis? Okay, well then give me $10 million then I'll go take $1 million for that guy.
Unbelievable.
That is true because the WBC just had a conference where they were putting out what's it called, mandatories, and you're right. I did not hear a mandatory for the welterweight division.
Yeah, wow. Give Andrew a second. There it is.
What?
Now it's subsided. There was static there for a split second. It's okay. Is it wrong that I want to get a Mr. Potato Head and make it this week's episode and call PBC fans potato heads? PBC. I got to figure out what the letters actually equate to. Potato head, boxing, something for C. It's there. I feel it. Although I do like Dead Zone a lot. I do a lot. I got to be honest. I do a lot.
It is. Zone is getting.
What's worse,
almost
PBC or the Dead Zone, Andrew? What's worse in your mind?
I'm going to say the Zone right now because they're the ones that kind of put a ripple in this whole boxing world when they brought that $1 billion and kind of took it from HBO. So I'm going to say it's Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn fucked up one of the biggest checks a person could get to establish a sport on a platform, on a network. He thought only about himself when he did the AJ signing, and then the Canelo, he really didn't do his homework with Saul Alvarez, or he would have seen Alvarez was never a crossover star when they signed him. And give credit to Oscar De La Hoya, but he was not the #1 guy when they gave him the biggest contract in sports world history. All of that has backfired on DAZN, and you got to throw that literally. Oh, and then the Golovkin fiasco with $20 million for fucking Gennady Golovkin, a fight. This guy was not a superstar. This guy was not pushing no numbers without Canelo being attached to him. It's just, yeah, I got to say, I'm ready to cancel DAZN. After last night, I'm looking at their schedule. Dillian White, give a fuck about him. And AJ, give a fuck about him. Your whole fucking Estrada fighting Chocolito 7 damn times and Chocolito fighting the other guy 7 times. I'm tired of all those fights too. How many times are they going to keep replaying these? So I'm almost ready. If DAZN goes to straight pay-per-view, why do I need to subscribe to their shit? I don't watch anything else on DAZN but boxing. Nothing.
Well, that's because you didn't watch the influencers. They told you last night, I'd sign up for a year just for that fight. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Lies. Lies, lies, lies. Well, again, our newest sponsor, VIPRow.net, as you see on the screen. There you can pick up any sport you want, including all the football games you want, including Sunday NFL package. That's VIPRow.net. Proud not sponsor of Fight Net Radio. Am I what's wrong with boxing? No, I'm not. PBC is. DAZN is. They're screwing it all up on their own. I didn't invent any of this stuff.
They're forcing our hand with this.
They're forcing my hand completely.
No,
and I really realize after looking all the numbers we have, oh my God.
Boxing is one of the most watched sports in the entire world. When you put two of the best fighters in their prime, in the ring, and they're both undefeated, they both have belts, it is one of the most watched sports in the world. We have ruined that.
I agree.
The boxing politics are starting to ruin what this sport once was.
They're talking about putting one of these fights on CBS mainstream, and I forget which fight it was when I was kind of going through the notes, but somebody's, one of the PBC Showtime something or other, they're talking about doing, they're out of luck. They realize that they shit the bed already on pay-per-view. They're talking about their next big fight being on CBS primetime. Good. Go after that money. All right. At least get your fighters paid. And you will get 20 or 30 million people watching on primetime if you put the right fight on. You will.
If you put right. Yes. My whole thing is we need the right fights, though. We can't put, Keith Thurman versus Joe Blow and expect the casuals to tune in just because it's free on CBS. Right. You have to put something that's going to attract eyeballs, that's going to create a little gossip, right, at the work world, in friends circles. Like, hey, you going to check out this fight this weekend? Both of the dudes are bad. They're undefeated. They're champs. This. We got to give them something to watch. That's what we used to do. We used to put on fights that people wanted to see. It was called prize fighting. People were fighting for the biggest prize. Right now, we have a bunch of guys that just want $1 million. They just want 500 grand. They're not looking to make the biggest money in the world. It has to be that way, or Spence would be dying to fight Terrence Crawford. If he wanted the biggest money in the boxing world,
it'd be the Super Bowl. If you did that on CBS primetime, it'd be the Super Bowl. You get $1 million every 30 seconds for a commercial. You'd pay for the fight. You'd pay for it in a heartbeat. It would be that big. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're just not.
Whole PBC tried to blackball Terrence Crawford when he first entered the division. That was the problem, man. That was one sad part of our sport, sad time in our sport, where a bunch of fighters blackballed the #1 fighter in the world. He was ranked #1 by ESPN, and none of you guys wanted to fight him? Pussies.
Well,
and I know you guys. Wait a minute. I know they're not pussies. They just all gave in to the money. They just all gave in to Al Heyman's going to give them the money so they can live good lives and they don't have to put a real risk out there, like fighting that bad motherfucker from Nebraska. You don't want to fight that bad dude over there when you could fight, a Kumpo. You want to fight a Kumpo? Or how about we move a lightweight up? We'll move a lightweight 2 fucking divisions and then say that's a real fight. Yes. Joke. Fucking joke. And people bought into that shit. They're like, Mike Garcia Spence, it would be a hell of a fight. That Garcia was in his prime, looked fat as fuck. He looked like Roberto Duran at a middleweight. The dude was in his prime.
Well, and I think you touched on it, Andrew, and it's a good point to bring up, which is I would always say that there's about 3 levels of boxing fans, right? People who are waiting for the next Mike Tyson fight. That's the lowest rung. And by the way, there's still people who think Mike Tyson's coming back or still planning on fighting. Then the middle tier, which is what the casual fan, right? I want to see Tyson Fury. I want to see – they've got to have a name. And then there's the lunatics like us that are spending our Saturday night watching Jaime Munguia in a basketball court fighting in Guadalajara. I mean, I'm trying not to – look, it's not a good look when there's basketball hoops in the background, all right?
I know.
That's a really bad look. I mean, and that's not even a full arena. Ooh. Bro.
I would have shot. Well, I would have asked for a basketball. I'm like, what the fuck? Let's get a little game going on here in between.
They should have hired the
You're
Harlem
gonna-
Globetrotters. I'm waiting for, like, Triller or one of those guys do the same thing. Bring in the Harlem Globetrotters for the entertainment between the show. They can do the Sweet Georgia Brown bullshit in between fights.
I would have liked to have seen fucking Munguia try to shoot some free throws with the gloves on, and that'd be more entertaining and shit. It's like, all right, in between rounds, you're gonna have to throw a free throw from the ring. Let's go.
If not, you got to fight with one hand behind your back. And again, watching them drink Pedialyte because Mexico's got the lax rules on beverage. Like, the whole thing was just whack as shit. So there are those three levels. And I think that the hardcores are moving down to the casuals. The casuals that we used to have before, because Mike Tyson fought every Saturday, no matter who he fought, but he was going to knock somebody out in 30 seconds. They've moved down, right? Boxing fans were lucky. After Mike, you had Lennox Lewis, you had Evander Holyfield, you had Oscar De La Hoya. Like, you had an entire group there. This group is spoiled and messed up. They are all messed up. They all need to be put into like a burlap bag with like a baseball bat, and one of you come out of that bag, please. Like, get it over with.
It's just
Somebody
the
show
sense of entitlement, the entitlement in it. Like,
That's
think,
exactly the
like,
word. It's
everybody
entitlement.
thinks they deserve this fucking $1 million fights without taking the risks that a lot of the previous fighters have taken. It's like, come on. And I've said this before a few times, like, even with Devin Haney before these last few fights, like, getting $1 million to fight Yorkis Gamboa or some shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Since when, right? And I think he was with the Zone and or I'm sorry, Matchroom at the time, I believe. So it's like, god damn it, like it's like they get spoiled right off the bat. Like, oh, any promoter wants to get the guy to come over to his fucking that does Don King shit and basically opens the briefcase with like $100K, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is something that's a lot of money. It's just, man, fucking Heyman. Me off.
Credit to Bob Arum's team. You know what? Credit to Bob Arum's team, because it's not Bob. There's no way Bob is aware of what's going on in the media. I mean, I love Bob, but Bob's team is like, you know what? We got to put this on ESPN Prime, or we got to put it on ABC. We got to get away from this pay-per-view thing if we want to keep our fans. That shows a lot out of Bob.
And Lee, and then he'll cut you. Telefimo got out of line. He said, fine, go make your $6 million somewhere else. Who came back to him? Terrence Crawford got out of line. Fine. Go sign that Spence fight. Let's see how you do on your own. You think it's me? Go do it on your own. Where's Spence at today? Excuse me.
It's hard to have an honest promoter, right? Like, look at Oscar and how far he will go to cover up the win-loss record. He's down to Ryan Garcia, if you want my opinion. The only thing in his stable that matters is Ryan Garcia right now. And that fight's not even made, right? So Oscar's protecting O's. The PBC is, buying tattoos and gold. Bob, you're a single. Listen, you're a single. You're going to fight on ESPN Plus. I'm worth $5 million. Okay, good luck. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm letting you out of your contract right here. I can actually picture him at a table where somebody like a Lomachenko sits down. I'm worth $5 million. Okay, bye-bye. What? I didn't think you'd actually say that. No, you can go. Plenty of fish in the sea. I'm going to sign a whole new batch of Olympic champions. You're out of here, old man.
That's Mr. Deeds. Remember when Adam Sandler got all that money? He fired the quarterback?
So crazy. All right, let's clean up the last of these stories. Sandor. I just like saying his name. He's going to fight Teofimo Lopez instead of Jose Pedraza. Who cares? They're about the same level. I mean, I just like saying Sandor. It's like a magician. Sandor. Miguel, is this even on the Scrapometer?
It's not. I mean, oftentimes.
If it was Pedraza, would it rate on the scrap?
Yes, of course, because it's a step up. That first fight that he had as a comp at 140 was like, all right, it's just kind of dipping his toes in, right? Somebody fighting someone like Pedraza is more of a test, which we would have been able to see, or we would have seen more of Teofimo, more of the improvement, more of him getting comfortable at 140 had he fought Pedraza. And then no knock on Sandor because he's coming off like one of the biggest fucking victories of his damn career over Mikey Garcia last year. But I mean, really, we haven't heard his name since, so it's like we have ourselves a Spanish fucking, Ali Wallin, Otto Wallin here is like he gets a big name, he beats him, and then he actually like legitimately beats him on fucking DAZN, and then he completely disappears. So here he is again, resurfacing. Let's hope that he can pull off a similar upset. Wouldn't that be some shit? He actually comes in and beats fucking Teofimo. It seems
God, I
unlikely
would love that.
because
I really don't like Teofimo.
that'd
I
be
don't
some
like
shit if he can
Teofimo.
pull that off. So I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be rooting for him, but I kind of am low key. But it's definitely not gonna measure the same on the Chubb meter as it would have been Pedraza.
Okay, let me reframe that. I'm not against Teofimo. I'm against Teofimo's dad. So I'm high key into Sandor. Andrew, are you going to be rooting for Sandor?
No, I don't care who wins. I do like that they replaced it with someone coming off a significant win, though. They didn't give us, some
Don't sleep on
50th
him.
rank.
Good fight.
Hey, he beat Mikey Garcia, by decision. It was a clear victory. That's a good win for the guy, right? And you're coming in as a replacement with the win over Mikey Garcia. Basically retired Mikey Garcia early too. Mikey I don't think was ready to retire, but he retired early, and so now he fights Lopez. It's a decent replacement, not fight, but replacement to keep this card going. At least keep me interested. And I know who the guy is. It's not like they went and grabbed some dude in fucking biker shorts off of the street.
Well, let's go back to why I want him to win. Teofimo Lopez Sr. I predict my son will be a two-time undisputed champion. Keep on predicting it. Andrew, I predict my penis is going to grow another 6 inches before I drop dead. I predict it. This shit is stupid as hell. It's literally like, oh yeah, my cock is still growing. But before I drop dead, it's going to be 350 pounds. Women will run in terror from it. I cannot stand Lopez Sr., Miguel. I just can't. Your son fucking blew it. Your son blew it already. He blew it.
No.
He blew it,
I wouldn't
Andrew.
say he blew it entirely. I mean, he's still obviously he's still very young, right? So he can make it. He can make a difference. I'm not gonna lie, he did blow his his lightweight title, but again, he was gonna outgrow the weight class anyway. It would have been nice for him to just relinquish the belts and move up at 140, but he decided to take on Kambosos, and it was a big error. And Kambosos is basically turning into or has already become the lightweight Buster Douglas at this point. It comes in for one fantastic fight, whoops the shit out of fucking Lopez, and then basically loses the belts in his next fights, and we'll probably never hear from him again. But on Teofimo's side, he could still make a change. It's obviously young enough, and he still has that stardom, that power, that star power, to the point where he can actually do something. Whether or not he'll be the undisputed at 140, that's another story. I mean, he's got the potential. I'm not going to say he doesn't have the potential. Clearly, he did it once. It wasn't like he went around beating all these champions. He did beat one guy, which was Lomachenko at the time. So can he do the same? Can he, maybe fight somebody like Josh Taylor and take all the belts at once? It's possible, and he can make that change. I don't know how likely it is, but I like Teofimo Senior. His his outlook, right, is very optimistic, which is great because his son is still young and he can still do it. But I don't know. At 140, I mean, damn it, that's a tough one. I'm not sure if he fights somebody like Josh Taylor. I'm not sure if he can do it.
Andrew,
he has the best promotional company behind him, so there's a possibility he does it. What needs to change though isn't his dad the one that was telling him, hey, we're gonna party after this fight when he was losing to Kambosos?
Yeah, he was.
Hey, come on, at a party,
come on, knock him out and let's go party.
That was not a good look.
Bob, what do you think about? I've humbled his ass. He better win. That's all I gotta say. Short leash. And yes, Singer's an asshole. He is. But look, I'd want my dad to be that delusional. Andrew, you got to promise to be that delusional for Junior. You got to be. He's the next champion. He's gonna win in 5 weight classes.
And he's gonna go party right afterwards too. It's like we're
gonna go party after each fight.
I'll be like Hardy last night. He's all lead. He's Julio Cesar Chavez. He's all of them in one. All of those guys.
Oh my God. He's all of them rolled up into one. All of them rolled up into one. Canelo Alvarez makes his return to the ring. He's coming off hand surgery and probably tainted Mexican cattle at this moment. And if you think I'm just being an asshole, I guarantee there are steroids ripping through that body right now, trying to repair his hand as quick as possible. He's talking about a tune-up fight around Cinco de Mayo, creating a backlog there for other people who want to fight on that date. Then to move on, and he is obsessed with the Bivol rematch, which I don't see how it's going to be any different. So I start with you this time, Andrew. Canelo, should he just know his role and stay in his lane, or should he go after the Bivol?
Well, it seems like he wants to go after the B-ball fight. So, I would not. I would stay in my own lane. I don't think Canelo is a light heavyweight. I'm sorry. The guy's small. He's been small. So no, I don't think he should do it, but he's hard-headed and he's a champion because of this. And so we'll see what happens when he goes up there on roids. He will be coming back with, and we haven't asked, and it's not right. We've been around him enough to at least get the answer from their camp. One of us, and I'm not talking just Fight Net Radio. I'm talking all media. Why the story about the vegan diet hasn't come back to the surface if Canelo's doing this or not. One of his worst performances was on a special new diet. So we got to see where Canelo is with that, if he's eating meat again or not. And then, the B-ball fight, it looks like that's where he's going to go. I will say this. If I'm Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia, I don't know if I'm scared about going up against Canelo on pay-per-view. Canelo's not as big of a star as we project him to be or proclaim that he is. He's just not. And he has 2 losses now. The second defeat was pretty bad. But we know how boxing is. Ryan Garcia is fresh. He's got a lot of you guys seen you seen how many likes the fight got as soon as they posted it, man. We're talking 500, 250,000 likes all over the internet for that fight. There is an opportunity for De La Hoya to just take over the Cinco de Mayo with Ryan Garcia.
Well, that's again if they get the fight signed. Miguel.
Lee, I'm talking with anyone though. I really am.
Anybody with Ryan Garcia on Cinco de Mayo? No, not anybody. You can't trot that out to Vegas with anybody. He's got to fight somebody. He's got to fight a top 10.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get out. Well, yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I guess I should.
It doesn't help that Ryan doesn't really speak Spanish that well. They should probably help push that a little bit, so at the very least he can, at the very end of his post-fight interviews, be like, Viva Mexico cabrones or something, something along those lines to at least cheer the motherfuckers up.
He's not fighting in Mexico. He's fighting in America.
But if you even put it in San Diego or Anaheim, look, Oscar's big on this.
That's not a real Mexican holiday, though. We both know that.
But it's still
a holiday.
Right. But
it's most
still. Yeah. But even still, De La Hoya would fight on those fights, and Canelo's fighting on those days. So they're making
even if you put it in LA or Anaheim or San Diego, that's a predominantly Mexican community, that's going to show up for that fight. Especially the way Oscar stacks those cards.
Fight with Canelo. He's not a pay-per-view star in America. He's just not.
Well, this is it could be DAZN, with their bullshit. But according to them, his third fight with Triple G did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. That's what they say. Now, rather than that's accurate, I don't fucking know. But they're definitely trying to project him to be a bigger star than it really is. Global.
And that was their platform for the whole world, though. That was not just North America. U.S. Yeah, that was for their entire platform. So they were hella trying to pump up those numbers.
Yeah, and to this Alvarez thing here that we're watching, I damn it, I wish we were able to get access to him so I can very least ask him that goddamn question, because that was irking me too, trying to get to him at some point, even if it's like at a fucking like a public workout or something, just scream out that fucking question just so you can get his attention and have him answer it, because that's definitely he did look different in that third fight with with Triple G. So I have to assume he's incorporated meat back into his diet, and may do that again with it if he decides to go, which it looks like he's going to want to go with that second fight with Bivol. Which here's the thing, I give him credit for his stubbornness. I give somebody like Shane Mosley credit for losing to Winky and then fucking wanting that immediate rematch. Like, no, fuck this, I can beat this guy even if he loses again. Same thing with Vernon Forrest, right? Get his ass handed to him. It's like, God damn it, no, I can beat this motherfucker even if he loses again. That stubbornness to get that rematch, I'm all about it. Yes. Fuck whether or not if you think you can actually beat the son of a bitch, by all means hop in there and do it. If you think you can do better, we'll do it again. Fuck it, So I give Canelo credit for that. Whether or not it's going to come out with the victory the second time around is another story, but I give him credit for at least wanting to get that L back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wrapping it all up, Archer Butterbean, is taking on Anthony Yarde on January 28th. This fight was signed this past week before his fight this past week, and he won by KO. He fought nobody. So let's turn to the scrapometer. The angry, and his words, angry, and I remain angry, and I'm going to continue to be angry, Anthony Yarde. Miguel, is this on the scrapometer?
No, it's more on the one-sided ass whooping meter. Really, it's pretty much what's going to turn out to be. And Yard, to his credit, he did what he could against Kovalev, and people actually thought, Kovalev is not the what is it, the crusher that he used to be, right? So understandably, Yard did a lot better in that fight than had he done earlier in Kovalev's career. But no, this is most likely going to be a one. And I think wasn't it Yard who said he doesn't do sparring during his fight camps?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
right. Supposedly, right? So anyway, yeah, this is not going to measure on that. It's going to be just basically one-sided pounding.
He said that. Oh, he said that, and then he got stopped by a jab.
Yeah.
If you remember, that final punch Kovalev drops him with is just a straight up jab, man. The guy is just so gassed he can't even stand up anymore. Muscle lifter. He looks more of an athlete than he does a boxer, bodybuilder type frame. Look for him to get annihilated by the much heavier handed and better skilled Beterbiev.
There you go.
And here's the thing: I don't even call these guys athletes. Like I appreciate that these for guys who lift weights and bodybuild push their bodies to that extreme. That's awesome for that particular genre. But I don't even know if I can call them athletes because they're not athletic. It's like they're not really athletes. Yes, they are. They work out, obviously, right? They're gym freaks or gym rats. But when you see somebody like Yard come up and you're like, you don't expect this guy to last long because of how fucking big his goddamn muscles are. So I'm not even sure if I can call him an athlete. He's a boxer, yes, but it's like, bro, you're running out of gas in that fucking last round. You got dropped and stopped by a fucking jab.
Yeah, and again, going back to that Misfits card, they had a guy who came in who was a bodybuilder, former amateur or football player. It was a horse, man. He was like 240 pounds. Got beat by a jab by an amateur boxer. The minute they said he's got amateur experience, I went, oh, that little dude's going to mess up that big dude. Bad. And he did. He quit him on the stool. He was spitting out his mouthpiece by the end of the second round. Oh, loved every second of it. Never mess with people who know how to box on your feet. Oh, terrible. We still have a couple of minutes before we kick Andrew loose. First and foremost, go to FightNet Radio on all forms of social media, just at FightNet Radio. It'll get you to all the places: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, because apparently we have to do Twitter. And of course, the completely updated YouTube page. We'll be doing video clips. I'm going to try to get some daily content and some more watch-alongs with Miguel during the week for all of you. With that said, I'm going to give a bonus 12-minute segment before I kick Andrew loose and keep him on time. Did you see this bullshit? The WBC wants to make a new belt thing for World Cup. Clearly, this is about Suleiman wanting to make a belt for World Cup. So instead, what he came up with was a round-robin system to determine who would get that BS belt that he's clearly making. In category number one, we'll just do this real quickly for any of you who are going to be stupid enough to show up to see how the fans vote. We're going to tell you exactly how it should be. In group one, Andrew, you've got Ali, Andrew Ruiz, Sam Langford, Georges Carpentieri. Really? Okay. That's group one. And they all do round robin each time around and everybody gets to vote. Is there any question that Ali comes out of this group, Andrew?
No, not at all.
Miguel?
Honest with you, I can't really talk on Langford and Carpentier, to be honest with you, Lee. But I mean, it's Muhammad Ali, and I've never heard the other guy. Should rephrase this. You don't hear them as much as you do Ali's name, right? So
Sam Langford for sure. I don't know if I've watched this fight. I've heard of Sam Langford and his abilities. Good luck on Carpentier. I mean, Miguel's probably looking it all up, but let's be honest. Ali could rethink anybody. If you give him 2 shots and this would be a round robin, Ali's getting multiple shots at people, he'd be dangerous as shit.
Is an absolute joke, though. That's just stupid to even mention that fight, them in the same name.
I didn't. Suleiman did, and he's busy making a belt, Andrew. So we're saving everybody the trouble of showing up on social media to find out. If you're stupid enough to show up to find out the outcomes of these, Miguel, outside of the interesting fight that would be Andy Ruiz versus Muhammad Ali, and that would be the interesting fight in the pile, is there any way anybody else comes out of this besides Ali?
I have no fucking idea. I have no clue. Like
you don't get into the speculation of the insanity of this. Fight fans do this bullshit. Well, if it was Mike
they do it all the time. Yeah, in the wrong era. It's like, oh yeah, because his opponents, his level of competition was different. Blah blah blah. It's just, I mean, like, who are they gonna give the belt to if Ali wins? Like, or if this cup?
Oh, they'll give it to Layla or something. Don't worry, they'll figure it out.
Let's say somebody else, like one of the other motherfuckers. It's like, let's just say for the sake of argument. And first off, how are they gonna determine the winner? Like, is it because these actual nationalities are playing in the fucking World Cup, or what the hell's the, like?
Yeah, probably.
What is this fucking flip?
I don't know what the point of this is. In Group 2, which is probably the most we'll start with this one, Miguel, which is the most viewable Group B. Holyfield, Wilder, Tua, and Parker. Eek! I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Wilder coming out of Group B. Who do you pick? Because this is going to be a fan vote, really.
It is going to be a fan vote. It's
Holyfield or Wilder.
I'm gonna have to lean towards Holyfield. I don't think Wilder. I'm gonna have to lean towards Holyfield because damn, that chin on fucking Holyfield. Good lord.
I don't know if
Holyfield had the best upper body movement. He had some of the best upper body movement as a heavyweight. He was a smaller man. He used to be able to dodge punches, get on the inside. I think he annihilates fucking Deontay Wilder probably as fast as he did Buster Douglas.
No doubt.
Wilder has a tendency of closing his eyes, staying high, putting his head. His defense is just like reaching out and trying to stay taller than his opponent. It really has no head movement. I think Holyfield sets him up and cleans his clock with the right hand.
Well, Riddick Bowe would be the best example. Riddick had that kind of one-punch power, and he stood in there. God damn, he stood in there. What a beast.
And I was Carpentier was born in 1894. I have no comment on him.
Listen, I've got a comment on him. When we were fighting for Redcoats, think about it. Chiming in on. Did you promote him? I promoted him. Did you? Yeah. It was.
He sucked him out of the amateur.
40 at
what
the
I
time,
believe.
Whatever. Bob is getting older and older each show we do. Now the question is, will the PBC Potato Heads make Deontay Wilder the winner of this division?
That's
right?
Yeah, they might.
All right.
They just might, those fucking stubborn sons of bitches.
Ali's going to come out of this just on fan pick, right? But my question is the PBC Potato Heads getting involved and making Deontay. Oh, he could beat Evander. No, he couldn't. A lot of people thought they could beat Evander. A lot of people. And that's why Evander's currently brain dead. But we'll go with Evander. It's how it should be. In Group C, Frazier, Klitschko, Samuel Peters, and Jack Dempsey. Well, we know what my pick's going to be, so I almost have to recuse myself because the reality is Klitschko's were pretty badass. I don't know how Frazier would get inside. I don't know how Dempsey would get inside. And Samuel Peters got beat by everybody at one point. The fact that he ever held
this is-
the belt
Yeah,
is
he damn near
shocking.
got beat by fucking Jameel McClain.
I would want to vote for Joe Frazier. Now, again, we're back to PBC potato heads. Are they going to vote for Jack Dempsey or Frazier? Because they're never going to vote for the white guy. Yes, I said it, PBC fans. You'll never vote for a white guy. Miguel?
If we're talking about like post Emmanuel Stewart Klitschko, then yes, I'm gonna go with Klitschko and on that weekend. Prior to that, I mean, I think
you want it would have to be the
it would
Emmanuel
have to
Stewart
be
Klitschko.
when he went on his fucking tear, this 10-year tear. If it's that Klitschko, then absolutely he comes out of here. If not, though, I think Frazier will be able to get in way easier.
Oh yeah, and he's got a bad chin. I would completely.
Yes.
So we're talking in a practical world. Yes, if he could get under the jab, he would definitely. Frazier would be the danger, including Dempsey. His ability to take an amazing amount of punishment was legendary. And if he could get under and hit Vladimir's chin, he'd have a very good shot. Samuel Peters, you still get knocked out in any scenario we come up with. I apologize to Samuel Peters and the Samuel Peters family. Andrew.
Samuel Peters never did.
He had the belt for 12 seconds.
And it almost feels like Suleiman was just trying to be woke when he made this list. Seriously, some of these guys belong on here. They don't have enough. It's serious. I mean, come on, Samuel Peter and David Tua, Joseph Parker. You just pick these guys. You didn't want your whole fucking to be a bunch of Americans and Klitschko. That's it. That's why you did. Unless there's hella more groups that are.
There's
Tyson?
one more. There's only one more group. Group D. Oh no, D and E. Wait, D.
Oh jeez.
D gives
George
you Fury. Another guy from.
Thornton Jr. Like, come on, man.
I think he makes it. In here. Hold on. In Group D, Andrew, Tyson Fury, Franz Botha. Wow.
I told you. Sanders.
Corey Sanders. Shout out to South Africa for this fucking round. And George Chivallo. Okay, Tyson Fury beats everybody up. We don't even need to discuss it. Vitaly Klitschko, Oscar Bonavenia. Okay. Primo Card. What, did you guys just spin a wheel and these are the names that came up for countries? And Sonny Liston. I'm a Sonny Liston fan. I still don't think he beats Klitschko. I just don't. Too much boxing skill. It's just
but
my
he still
opinion.
belongs. But he still, you know what I mean? Sonny Liston belongs on the. Corey Sanders does not belong on the fucking list, dude. Did you just say Corey Sanders was on this list?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the previous
Franz Botha.
Rest in
I don't
peace,
know who
but
belongs on the list less. Franz Botha or Corey Sanders.
Yeah.
And by the way, these should all be first round knockouts for Tyson Fury.
Is Tyson not on this? Mike, I mean.
Yeah.
This literally was a thing that they are pushing, and they've actually got dates for people to go vote. And then Group F, Tyson,
here we go.
Berbick, Joe Louis. All right, listen. I'm an Alexander Usyk fan. Prime Mike Tyson knocks his head off. Trevor Berbick was never in his prime. Now you got to talk about where this happens. Is Joe Louis big enough to handle Mike Tyson? That's a really good debate.
Yeah. Great
and
fight.
I love Joe Louis. Another guy who can take incredible effing punishment. Is that 50?
Always had the deck stacked against him, yet was a champion for almost a decade, wasn't he? Wasn't this something outrageous that he held the biggest title in the sports world for that long? And so, yeah, Joe Louis is pretty damn hard. That's one hard man right there.
PBC potato heads are going to pick Mike Tyson and push this forward. No doubt about it. Because they don't know Joe Louis. They're not watching documentaries. They're not watching him fight Miguel. Although, God, Joe Louis versus Mike Tyson, two prime fighters.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd pay $100. I'd pay $100 pay-per-view for that.
Yeah, two prime fighters, but I mean, even though Tyson was like the monster, mentally he was pretty weak. So if he throw at fucking Lewis and wouldn't be able to drop Lewis or keep him down, I think he would have wilt. So I might have to go with Joe Lewis on that one.
And Group G,
My
Lennox
grandpa-
Lewis. Oof. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I was gonna just say my grandpa big on Mexican fighters, right? But his number one fighter of all time is Joe Louis. Yeah.
Same for my
Yeah,
grandpa.
it's similar for my dad actually. When he tells me that, he's like, "You watch all these fucking fighters; these guys ain't shit. Watch Joe Louis." And it's like, and my dad is a hardcore Mexican fan, obviously, right? But every single
Yeah.
time he tells me, it's like, "You want to see a real motherfucker fight? Watch that motherfucker." I was like, "Oh." Okay.
Joe Louis and Ali in about that order for most everybody who's watched boxing that long. I would agree. I would completely agree. Group G. Lennox Lewis deserves to be there. Jack Johnson. Top Rank Bob, do you want to talk about? Yeah, I promoted his first fight. Bare knuckle event. Tough son of a bitch. Anthony Joshua, who does not deserve to be there. The fact that he's ever held belts is almost painful. And Carlos Takam. Well, you get knocked out in the first round by all three of these guys. Anthony Joshua gets knocked out within 3 rounds by the other 2 guys. The only question is, Jack Johnson, who fought bare knuckle for 300 rounds at a time, could he handle Lennox Lewis? Ooh, I don't know if Johnson had the technical prowess to handle. And I've watched Jack Johnson fights. He's the first guy to bring in the jab. He did a lot of stuff that was innovative. But Lennox Lewis in his prime, we're talking Kronk Jim Lennox Lewis. Oof, that's a tough dude to beat.
The technical skills between Jack Johnson and Lennox Lewis, they had grown so much. The combinations, like you were just talking, the jab.
He'd win on points. I don't think you can knock out Jack Johnson. Bob, have you ever seen Jack Johnson get? Never. I saw him fight 400 rounds one day in front of a bar on a dusty street. Couldn't knock him out.
While they were throwing at him, probably too.
Yeah,
because when he won, believe me, the crowd was never happy.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if Lewis can take that shot too, because I know Lewis gets a lot of heat for like getting knocked out a few times with McCall and fucking what's his name. But watch that fight with Ray Mercer. That motherfucker took an ass whooping against Mercer, and he stood in there. So I think he could take Jack Johnson's punch.
Be interesting.
And the only thing that hurts. The only thing that hurts the older fighters too is their sizes.
They're smaller heavyweights for sure. For Lewis, for sure. When you're looking at a Lennox, we were talking. Miguel and I were talking about this because we were watching that kid from Iowa again. I go, I'm 6'2", and it's very rare that I stand next to another person and go, that's a big effing human. Like when we met Otto Wallen, I'm like, you're not that big, bro. You're just like a fat version of me, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you look at Tyson Fury, that's a big dude. Lennox Lewis is a big dude. Muhammad Ali would not stack. These are big guys. Even Joshua's a big guy. They're machines. They're huge. Group H. Here's the matchups you wanted. The return of Max Schmeling. Ooh, good fighter and evil. Luis Ortiz. I don't know how you made it, bro, but I guess we needed somebody from Cuba. David Hay. All right, so Hay and Ortiz are knocked out in the first round. The only question is, I already know where the potato heads are going to vote because Schmeling is white. They're going to vote for Foreman to come out of this group. But pay-per-view, Andrew, Foreman versus Schmeling Prime. Woof.
Yeah, no, it's a good fight.
And the angry Foreman at that, right?
Yeah, but I'm glad. Okay, so I see what Suleiman did. He was stretching this out. Suleiman didn't have too many names. The tournament would have been that long if he didn't add all of these guys. So that's all he's doing here. But you basically have picked who the real tournament is: Klitschko, Tyson, Foreman, Johnson, Ali, and
Foreman
Schmeling.
group here, Lewis here, Tyson here. Ooh, this is the only. They'll give it to Liston. I think PBC potato heads again.
Carpentier Lee was a middleweight when he started. I don't think he's beating Tyson Fury on any day. I don't think he's beating. I don't think a middleweight's beating Lennox Lewis on any day.
No.
And keep in mind, back then there were far fewer weight classes, so like he had to skip a bunch of weight classes that are now.
There were like 5 weight classes or something. Like there was something ridiculous to the weight class system. Bob, can you chime in? Originally, there were 3 weight classes. There was Teddy Atlas, the size of my shit weight class. Then what we called the middleweight, and then we had heavyweights. That was it. And you fought for 30 rounds. in front of a saloon. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, no, I know how this is going to turn out. And again, it's just an excuse for him to fucking punch out another belt. I don't even know what. God damn.
I want to see what.
And does anybody in the U.S. really care about World Cup? I mean, really, got to be honest. You're writing of it. I realize everywhere beyond the United States, World Cup is a big deal. And I mean everywhere else. It's not the United States. I'm really sorry. It's not going to get big viewer numbers. So I think it's ABC that's doing it or NBC, and they're like so proud of it. Oh my God, we got the World Cup. Okay. In Qatar, huh? So that means I got to watch at 4 a.m. or whatever that is. Good luck on that, and good luck with this to the Suleiman family. Again, go to fight. Yeah.
Did you guys see that the American soccer team dropped the American colors and they replaced them with the rainbow?
Yes, I did see that. This is in protest to how the LBGT, HDTV, KFC community is being treated in Qatar. So, yes, supposedly.
So we're having clashing cultures in sports between the PBC community screwing up boxing. We've now got the woke community. Look, it's sports. And if you don't think
we're not colors, Lee. America is the rainbow flag. What?
Look, I don't want to break it to anybody, but
is the female team going to be playing for us too? Is that what's going to happen now? We're going to have the.
By the way, this next section is specifically just for Sam Navajaro. Enjoy this, Sam, because I'm about to set Andrew off. Let's just say that Derek Carr throws an interception. I guarantee the lineman's coming back and going, dude, that's gay. And you're a fucking retard. Why did you throw it to him? Would you agree with that, Andrew? That's happening in the huddle?
Yeah. Did you see him crying after last week's defeat, Lee? Derek Carr finally went on the podium and broke down. We practiced too hard. We practiced too hard for that to be the result. We got to do better. So it's a sad day in Oakland. I'm waiting
for Aaron Rodgers' breakdown next. There are 3 breakdowns. We got the first one. I'm waiting for Aaron Rodgers' breakdown, and I'm waiting for Tom Brady's breakdown because they're just having shit seasons.
Everybody has always asked Derek to be a captain and start calling guys out. When guys don't catch the ball, don't say it's your throwing. Say the guy needs to catch better. The guy needs to, our line needs to do it. Call people out. He went on the podium and started crying. Fuck out of here. You got to get him out of here. He's done.
There you go. Go check us out on social media at FightNet Radio on Facebook, the Instagrams, the Twitters, and the YouTube. Our website will be back up this week, if it's not up by now, but it should be boxingtonight.io. It'll be updated. I'll split these up into individual stories, get them out there if you want to go and watch the videos or any of these pieces. Yes, I'll keep doing the audio for all you guys that are still just diehards. I'm also looking into actual radio again, actual radio.
Al Davis would have fired him coming off that podium.
Fag.
No Raider.
He just would have looked at him and went, fag.
He would have had his fucking box packed by the time. Like, here, pick up your box.
No Raider quarterbacks cry. You're crying?
You're being socially insensitive by calling him a fag. He is a fag. Fag. He's a fag. And a retard. I'm going to check his IQ after the fight. By the way, and I'm going to end on this. Lopez, this is clearly I should cut this out before it goes mainstream, but Lopez in the co-main event, how did he not look autistic, Miguel? I swear to God, he looked like Porky.
Jeez.
That is so big. Oh, my God.
And you saw it, too, the minute you saw it, didn't you? You looked at him and went, oh, my God, he's kind of right.
I was wondering what you guys are talking about, and then when I turned on the telecast, I was like, Lee's such a dick. He's such a dick.
He's a full 6 inches shorter, and he's got kind of that short, autistic, squatty body with the autistic-looking face. And he kept, thanking him like Corky in between rounds. Did I watch it really closely?
Is there a worse put down than to say you look autistic? Are you fucking...
I'm sure if boxing was woke, I'd be in a lot of trouble. But let's be honest, it's just PBC. I'm going to get more heat for shitting on PBC fans than talking about all this stuff by far. By far. And I've also been in gyms. So if you don't think somebody doesn't get hit every single day and go, come on, fag, hit me harder. You've never been to a boxing gym. You're being insensitive to gay people. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I like gay people a lot, specifically lesbians, because I have something in common with them. We both like vagina. So I guess that'll do it for this week. I tried to stay mainstream, Miguel. I blew it.
That's okay.
Yes.
I appreciate the effort. You get an A for effort.
I made it at least halfway through the show. At least halfway. Before I lost my mind.
You did your part. You did your part.
This is definitely not the audition tape if I'm going to mainstream radio. This is...
Try again next week, you guys. Please come back.
by the way, and again, whoever's watching this somewhere in the future where I or someone I know or someone I'm married to or dating or whatever, you never know my future, is running for political office, don't hold this against them. I only do this on Sunday. I only put the hood on Sunday.
Oh, shit. Just smear campaigns. I see it already.
Woo! That'll do it for this week's Fight Net Radio. That's Andrew Labouche. That's Miguel Antonio Barragan. My name's Lee Honish. Follow us at Fight Net Radio. You can also go to boxingtonight.io where you can get all of that. Please click, like, subscribe, smash it, share it with your BFFs, as Miguel would say. And we'll see you guys next week.